So I've been mining Bitcoin for a little over a year and a half now, and so far I've spent over $153,000 on my 25 Bitcoin mining machines and my 35 mining NFTs. And in this video, I will answer the question of whether this has all been worth it so far, and is it too late to start mining now, especially with the Bitcoin halving coming soon. Let's jump into it. And as I start this video, the price of Bitcoin is $68,554. It was over $71,000 again yesterday, but dropped off a bit today. But overall, for the past week or so, it's been largely sideways. We've just been in this $68,000 to $71,000 range for a little while now. So what will happen next? I don't know. So let's start here with my current Bitcoin mining setup. Like I said, I have 25 machines and 35 NFTs, all totaling 3.55 petahash. So that is 7 S19 Pro 110 terahash machines, 9 S19J Pro 104 terahash machines, 3 S19K 120 terahash, and now 6 S21 200 terahash mining unit, along with 10 AlphaShares mining company NFTs and 25 fraction mining NFTs. So that is the entire setup. The most recent ones I purchased were the Bitmain Antminer S21 from Musk Miners. I had got one of these earlier in the year, and then now I just bought 5 more of these in the past month. So 5 of these equals 1 petahash. 1,000 terahash equals 1 petahash. So just like that, brought another petahash online. Talked about fraction mining in the past. They are a crypto company project where you buy an NFT, they take the money, they buy machines and containers, they start mining, and then you earn a return paid through a distribution on your NFT from those Bitcoin or Caspa or KDA or whichever mining NFT you jump into, payouts. And AlphaShares is largely the same. AlphaShares has a different angle that they're also doing some element refining as well. They haven't quite got online yet, but they're working on getting that online with the reserve NFTs, but then just the normal NFTs for the mining are Bitcoin payouts only. And again, I have bought 25 of the fraction mining ones, and I have 10 of the AlphaShares Mining Co. Reserve NFTs. And before I move on here, one more thing to note. My friends at Musk Miners are giving away one of these, a Bitmain Antminer S21, which right now, before the halving, is still profiting $400 to $450 a month. And they're going to give it to you for free. The winner will have the choice to have it hosted with Musk, which is what I would recommend, or they can just ship it to you. But if you do host it with Musk, you pay like $200 a month in hosting fees and you get $400 to $450 back. Of course, this is before halving. After halving, things change, but I will talk about that in this video. But there's no reason to not enter. So I just dropped that in the chats across YouTube and Twitter, so definitely go enter into that. It's as easy as just signing up for a newsletter, visiting a website. There's a bunch of different ways to enter. Super easy, and this is a very lucrative giveaway, so I highly recommend you jump on this. I will announce the winner of this when the drawing closes around the Bitcoin halving, and I will post that on my YouTube community page, my Twitter page, and I will probably announce it in a live stream. Oh, and one last thing I want to talk about. And I'll get more into detail about this towards the end when I talk about Sleep Money Club. But if you are interested in getting a Bitcoin miner or a Caspa miner, there is a discount, the Your Friend 100 discount, which is in the description for Musk Miners. But if you join our lifetime membership in Sleep Money Club, you get an even bigger discount. And if you just buy a couple machines, it basically pays for your membership, which is pretty crazy. Next, let's talk about my current mining income. I want to set a little bit of context here before I get into whether or not this is worth it and what the landscape of Bitcoin mining looks like post-halving in 2024. At this exact moment, mining $10,911 a month worth of Bitcoin. And of course, if Bitcoin goes back over 71,000, this is over $11,000 a month. It's roughly 0.15 BTC a month right now. I'm paying a little under $3,200 a month in hosting and electricity cost, which puts me at $7,721 in profit a month across my 25 machines and my 35 mining NFTs. So that's pretty nice. And then now let's talk about where I'm at a year and a half into this experiment. Well, so far I've mined 2.65 BTC. My mining pool payout from last week just paid out this morning. So I'm at 2.65 BTC, which at $68,500 Bitcoin is worth $183,000 today. In the past year and a half, I've spent about $38,000 on electricity and hosting. And at this exact moment, the machines and NFTs that I've spent $153,000 on over the past year and a half are worth about half that, $74,000 if I were to sell them today. There's no big surprise here. And I can also, towards the end, if you have questions about why that's half of what it was worth, is because I probably bought my first rounds of machines too early in the bear market and the prices hadn't gone down enough yet. So I probably overpaid, but I was also mining way more Bitcoin back then. So I don't know, I could go either way on whether that was a good or bad decision. But either way, if I were to sell them today, they'd be worth $74,000. So that means my Bitcoin that I've mined so far and the machines that and NFTs I have collectively are worth $257,000 today. If I were to liquidate it all, if I were to sell it. And originally I've paid $153,000 and some change across the machines I bought and the NFTs I bought, and I've spent $38,000 on hosting. So that means if I were to sell all of it today, I would have $66,000 of profit if I were to sell today, which I'm not selling today, maybe in the next 6 to 18 months. But that is where I'm currently at with this whole Bitcoin mining experiment. So I'm pretty dang happy about that. Before I get into the halving and whether I think it's too late to mine Bitcoin, I want to tell you about this video's sponsor, Passive. Passive is like having an autopilot for your portfolio. Passive will turn your brokerage account into a modern portfolio management tool. Whether you have just a single brokerage account you want to be automatically managed, or what I think is even cooler, if you have multiple brokerage accounts, Passive can manage them all together in a single unified view. You can literally just set a target and Passive will do all the work of managing it all. When it comes time for a trade to happen, it just takes a single click. Super easy. Not only can you rebalance your portfolios, but you can track them all and you can have it handle all your cash reinvesting. Passive supports over 20 brokerages and cryptocurrency integrations, with more integrations launching every single month. You can try out the basic features of Passive totally free, or if you want all the features, you can actually get your first year with Passive for 50% off right now when you use the link down in the description. Okay, let's continue this video. Okay, next, let's talk Bitcoin halving, because this is the big hot topic, right? When it comes to, is mining worth it? Is it too late to be mining? This is the number one thing that people are going to bring up as a mostly yes, it's too late answer. But I think there's more than meets the eye here. But at this exact moment, we are about 19 days away from the Bitcoin halving, which puts it on April 20th, which would be super cool if we had the Bitcoin halving on 420, because who doesn't love the memes? But what is the Bitcoin halving? Right now, roughly every 10 minutes, there are 6.25 brand new Bitcoin created and sent out into the world. Okay, the miners are making these blocks happen, making these new Bitcoins come into existence. And right now, it's 6.25. In 19 days, roughly, it could be 18 days, it could be 21 days. It's a moving target. It's going to go from 6.25 to 3.125 Bitcoin every 10 minutes. So the moment the block happens, block number 840,000, miners around the world, their revenue in terms of Bitcoin will literally be cut in half in an instant, which sounds scary and sounds bad on the surface. However, let's talk about why I think this is actually good, even for miners. I think a lot of you would probably understand why it's good for the price of Bitcoin, but why I think it's even good for miners. So the number one thing here to understand is that at this moment, the amount of Bitcoin being purchased, especially by the ETFs and stuff, far outstrips the amount of new Bitcoin hitting the market through mining. So we're already at a bit of a supply deficit. Demand is much higher than supply. And supply is about to be cut in half in terms of brand new supply being created. So that's super bullish. That is typically one of the big catalysts for the price of Bitcoin going up over the 6 to 12 months after the halving, that time span. Longer term, this is good for the price, and as a miner, you will make more in terms of USD value of Bitcoin if the price goes up. But I think there is another element here, and let me show you this actual price chart here. Red is bear markets, showing you cycle bottoms. Halving in 2020 was in May. So right about here. But you can see at the beginning of this bull run was the halving. So each bull run typically, I mean, this cycle might be different, but so far each bull run has been preceded by a halving, and then it shoots up in price. Then we have a bear market, we have a correction, and then we have another halving, and then we have another bull market. The supply shock effect is not instantaneous, which is why a lot of people think it's priced in, or they get disappointed when the halving happens and the price doesn't double that day or triple that day. It takes a little while for these supply and demand effects to happen in the market. Typically, again, like I've said, it's usually 6 to 9 months at the earliest after. We are in a totally different space now with the ETFs and stuff, I realize, but still worth mapping against what we've already experienced because that's all the information we have so far. Another big reason why I think this is bullish for miners is because the price of Bitcoin goes up. That's good for miners overall, but it also signifies the start, hopefully, of a crazy bull run. And crazy bull runs bring lots and lots of activity on Bitcoin, and lots of activity in Bitcoin leads to transaction fees. And for those that don't know, as a Bitcoin miner, you not only get a piece of those block rewards shared with the pool, whichever pool you're on, when they hit blocks, you get a share of the Bitcoin block reward, but you also get a share of all the transaction fees on that block, because each block that is created with Bitcoin is packaged up a bunch of transactions, sending people to and from Bitcoin or ordinals or BRC20 token transactions or whatever, packaged up in those blocks. When the block is solved, the miners who solve that block get those transaction fees. And there's lots of speculation, including my own, that thinks 2024 or 2025 could be a massive year for transaction fees on Bitcoin. In the bear market, in 2023, when ordinals were first popping off, for a handful of weeks, keep in mind this is in the bear market, for a handful of weeks, the network on Bitcoin was so stuffed with all these ordinal transactions that my mining profits literally doubled overnight. And they stayed doubled for about 2 or 3 weeks. And that was in the bear market, when the sentiment was low and nothing was really going on. What do you think those transaction fees, what do you think all these things being built on Bitcoin are going to look like in a bull run, when you have a bunch of people just trying to buy it and send it and receive it? And on top of that, you have a bunch of people trying to build things on it and create tokens and all this stuff just filling up the network. Fees are going to skyrocket. And I want to talk to you about some calculations there, but I think that this aspect of Bitcoin mining is so often overlooked and slept on. I'm trying to do my best to share this idea with people, because I think this is something that most people are just missing, how very bullish this is for Bitcoin mining. But let's talk about mining profits and calculations. So if I use the example of my latest Bitcoin miner purchase, which is 5 S21s, that is 1,000 terahash or 1 petahash, which uses 17,500 watts of power. And my Musk miner's hosting rate is 8 cents per kilowatt hour, pool fee of 2%, hardware cost of $28,600. At today's block reward plus a little bit of transaction fee on top of that, these machines are making $3,068 per month in raw revenue. $1,000 of that goes to the hosting, electricity fees, etc., which means these are profiting $2,060 a month right now, which a quick percentage calculation shows that's 7.2% a month, which is amazing. Now, let's look at what happens when this drops to 3.125 Bitcoin every 10 minutes. That means these machines will be profiting $500 a month, because the price of the hosting does not change, but the revenue goes down dramatically. Good news is S21s, if nothing changes, right after the halving, will still be profitable. However, let's do a few experiments here. Let's say in the next 6 to 9 months, Bitcoin goes over $100,000 for the first time ever, which I think is a reasonable expectation that happens this year, or at the very latest next year, with all the activity going on. Now your profitability doubles. More than doubles. Now you're profiting $1,211 per month. But really, the base case for my bull thesis on Bitcoin over the next year and a half is at least $150,000 Bitcoin. I think it can go a lot higher, and we'll do some calculations with it going higher, but let's just say $150,000 Bitcoin. Okay, that means nothing else changing. You would actually be profiting more per month after the halving than you are today. Of course, the difficulty will go up, but this is just an imperfect calculation to show you how much the price of Bitcoin changes this calculation. But here's the exciting part. Again, 3.12 Bitcoin per block. I do not think it's unreasonable to assume that in a full-on pandemonium-filled, euphoria-filled bull run, that the block reward of 3.125 that's actually paid to miners could actually be 6 or 8 Bitcoin, meaning 3 to 5 extra Bitcoin per block being piled onto some of the blocks. When everything's being built on it, everybody's scrambling to buy it. There's just full on euphoria because even in the bear market, I saw an extra 2 to 4 BTC piled onto the block rewards for transactions. That was in a bear market. So I think conservatively, it's not unreasonable to think that it could do that. So let's say you get an extra 3 BTC piled on as transaction fees. That means these same machines, after the halving, with $150,000 Bitcoin, and again, the difficulty is, I'm still leaving it the same, that will go up, but just to give you an idea where things could go, that's $5,500 of profit a month on these same 5 machines. That is how rapidly things will change if the block reward changes. Let's look at 8, $7,657 in profit a month at 8 BTC per block reward. This is all speculation. I have no idea what the actual transaction fees will be, what the block reward will end up being. I have no idea what the difficulty will be. I have no idea what new machines will come out from Bitmain. But what I can do is I can do these imperfect calculations to give some kind of general, just ballpark, really wide and vague calculation for what maybe could happen in a best case or even conservative best case scenario. Of course, if you want to get totally crazy with it, let's say we go up to a few steps of difficulty, but things are going absolutely crazy and we're at 10 Bitcoin per block and Bitcoin goes to $250,000 per coin. I mean, that's $13,500 per month. Numbers can get really wild really fast, even with difficulty increases. But it all completely depends on the landscape of Bitcoin in the next 6 to 18 months, which, I don't know what that's going to look like. You don't know what that's going to look like. We're all just guessing. The main goal I'm trying to show you with this calculation is not to get you set up, get you feeling FOMO or get you some kind of false sense of hope or something. I've made most of my money in crypto by dreaming a little, thinking long-term, thinking with kind of a future mind, what the world could look like in the time frame that I think is reasonable. And these are all numbers that I can conceivably see happening. So it's something I want to plug in, play around with, and see what my possibilities could be. And my main motivation for doing this is that it reinforces my decision to mine and hold. I'm not selling my Bitcoin every day that I'm mining. I'm paying my electricity costs out of pocket, and I'm just letting all this Bitcoin sit in my Bitcoin address until we get to these new wild all-time highs. And even then, I might not sell my Bitcoin, I might just sell alt positions, but that's a different topic for a different day. But if you were to sell, you could stand to make a lot of money. But I think there's a couple of other opportunities here that are not showing on the surface. And the first one is machine arbitrage. I've talked about this a lot on the channel. I think it still needs to be talked about more because I think it's such a big opportunity. In not the most recent bear market, but the bear market before that, Bitmain released the S19 for the very first time. That machine cost $2,000 brand new from Bitmain. In 2021, after Bitcoin had done its all-time highs of $65,000 and then $69,000, those same machines were selling on various websites for between $20,000 to $25,000 at their peak. So imagine buying a $2,000 machine and selling it for $25,000. Now, will history repeat itself? No idea. Will you be able to have a 10x on buying any of these? No idea. But I personally, this is a big part of my strategy in that I'm expecting many of my machine prices from today, what their value is today, to at least double if Bitcoin does indeed go over $100,000 or $150,000 and there is a full-on bull market where everybody is scrambling to buy machines. I've seen it in the past, and I think we'll see it again in the future. Another great example is the Bitmain S9s. Those were released in mid or early 2017. They released at several $1,000s, and then by the bear market of 2019 and 2020, if you were to buy them in bulk, you could buy a pallet of those of like 60 machines. You could buy them for $25 each. Then if you had held on to that pallet of $25 each Bitmain S9s, which were 2 generations old and obsolete machines at that point, if you had held those same machines until Bitcoin crossed its new all-time highs of $69,000 in 2021, you could have flipped those machines on eBay for between $1,200 to $2,000 each. Now, these are 2 generations old, obsolete machines that you could flip for a massive profit. And this is why every time people comment on my videos about Bitcoin miners and talk about how my machines are going to be useless after 2 years. They're going to be obsolete and you're forced to upgrade and they're not worth anything. They only go down in price. I just look at the history of Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining so far, and that's absolutely provably false. Now, will it happen the same way this time? I have no idea. Of course, this time could be different. Those are dangerous words to say, but I'm planning on executing on that same strategy again that I have executed on in the past with all my current machines, which I think is a massive opportunity because you have machines now, or if you're gonna buy machines soon, you can mine on these machines for the next 6 to 18 months, and then you can sell those machines, hopefully for a profit, and then you get to keep all the Bitcoin you mined along the way. So I think the Bitcoin miner machine arbitrage, the flipping aspect of this entire mining strategy is one you should not overlook. I mean, I know a lot of people who are just buying these machines and just setting them in closets or in warehouses, and they don't even mine on them. They're just waiting to flip them. So I think there's a huge opportunity there too. And then I want to talk about one more opportunity related to Bitcoin mining, which I'm super excited about. If you've seen my video about Quantum Expeditions, this is a Bitcoin mining company being built from scratch, from the ground up, that you can actually invest in super early stage. They have a WeFunder that is a crowdfunding platform, and if you invest money in, you will eventually get shares, actual equity in this company because it's currently a private company. They are building a Bitcoin mining company, really competent, really awesome team that I've chatted with a bunch. I'm an advisor to Quantum Expeditions, but this is a great option if you don't want to mess with buying the hardware and dealing with the mining itself, but you want exposure to Bitcoin mining, but you don't want to get in super late like with Marathon Digital or Riot or any of the other stocks, which I think are great plays, but these are all publicly traded companies that are massive. Quantum is still private. You're getting in like a seed round, an early private round. And then if they were to get purchased, or if they were to get, if they were to go public, you then might enjoy some really rapid price appreciation on the shares you get. So I am a big fan of Quantum Expeditions. I recently had Monty, one of their co-founders from the team, on my podcast, which you should check out if you're interested in this one. I just wanted to mention it because I'm involved with them. I'm really excited about what they're doing, and this is a great alternative to buying machines and stuff directly, especially because right now you're getting in at a $33.3 million valuation cap for this, and they're very publicly saying their goal is to turn this into a $1 billion company. And that's not going to happen in the next 6 months, but it might happen next 3 or 4 years or something. So long-term Bitcoin mining play that could be worth considering. Quantum Expeditions. And then before I get into answering questions and stuff, I did mention it a few times. There is a link to all these things in the description of this video, but I want to mention my paid membership community. This is Sleep Money Club. It has a 7-day free trial right now. So if you join, you can check it out totally for free for 1 week. And if you hate it, you can leave and never get charged a penny. But I'm telling you about this because the 7-day trial is about to be removed. So if you're interested in trying it out and you've always had a question mark about it, whatever, now's the time to try it. This is my group of people where we all talk about passive income plays, wealth building, new projects, stuff like that. The moment it's all top of mind, having a group of like-minded people is super valuable. We have a bunch of strategies you can get involved in. There's exclusive alpha. You get to see everything I buy and sell, when I buy and sell it. You get exclusive live streams. We have a whole bunch of stuff going on. The airdrop guides are literally making people thousands of dollars every month. Just crazy opportunities inside Sleep Money Club. 4.98 out of 5 stars. That's their 96 reviews. People really like it. Most people who try the trial stick around because it's such a great experience. But mentioning it here because I've talked about it a few times, if you do want to buy Bitcoin miners and you join our lifetime membership, you get really hefty discounts. There's a bunch of other perks and features of the lifetime membership. But at the very least, try out the monthly, see if you like it before the trial goes away. If you watch this and Bitcoin mining sounds like a great place to consider investing, but you don't want to deal with all this stuff, well then check out this opportunity in this video here where I talk about Quantum Expeditions, a really cool Bitcoin mining startup that I am involved in. See you in the next one. Goodbye.